Hello friends, my name is Haley and welcome back to my channel. Today I am participating in the Strikeback Videothon. This is my first entry. It's been going on since I believe the 22nd. If you're not familiar with it, the point is just for smaller YouTubers to try to put out as much content as they possibly can to gain subscribers and view time in order to make that threshold that YouTube is now added for the partnership program. I'm nowhere near even being able to be a part of the program, but I thought this was still a good opportunity to put out some more content, be a little bit more creative. I know I've kind of gotten into a little bit of a slump of putting the same 3 or 4 videos up every month, so I thought this would get me out of it, encourage me to do a little bit more with some easy little videos, and maybe I'll be inspired to do some other new things soon. That's my goal for this year, is to put out a lot of new, different content. But other than that, let's get into it. So today's video is my classics TBR, and I'm excited because there's actually quite a few classics that I want to read this year. I decided to limit this one to just my top 5, otherwise it'll be a pretty lengthy video. So yeah, let's get into it. And the first classic that I hope to read, which will be very soon in February, is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. If you saw my book haul, you'll know that I got this book not that long ago, and it's just been on my mind. I don't know, I just haven't had time to pick it up yet. Other books have become priorities, but that is not true anymore. I especially became more motivated when I started looking up books about rain. I love rain, and I always want there to be like a movie or a book that just completely takes place in rain. And I found a list of great books that have to do with weather, so there are all types of weather. We're just talking about how this book is just very foggy, there's some storms in it, and I kind of knew that already, so I was like, oh yeah, I just really need to read this book. So yeah, this is the number 1 for me as far as classics go. Next book on my TBR is Stranger in a Strange Land by Robert Heinlein. This is notoriously the most famous science fiction novel ever written, which might be confusing because I feel like a lot of you probably haven't heard of it. I only heard about it because my boyfriend recommended it to me as one of the best novels he's ever read. For those of you who don't know, it's about Valentine Michael Smith, who is a human from Mars. So there was a science experiment where people went to Mars. The mission didn't go right, so all the people died except for the baby that was on board, and he ended up being raised by Martians. In a further expedition in the future, humans come, find him, and bring him back down to Earth, and now he's learning how to behave with humans. I got like a third way through this book. I really liked it. I think I just, in typical Haley classic fashion, I just got really distracted. So I'm definitely determined to read this and not get distracted and finish, because it's a really interesting book, and I'm disappointed that I didn't finish it the first time. Next on my list is none other than Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. I know this is a very controversial book, but I've just heard that it is so beautifully written. If you didn't know, it's that classic tale of the older man who falls in love with the age-inappropriate girl. I just want to read the writing. I'm just so intrigued by it, and I've heard it's just beautiful. And that's really all that it is to this book, that I just want to get my hands on some really well-written prose. The next book on my list is Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. I watched the movie with Hugh Jackman for the first time last year, and I absolutely fell in love with the story, with the characters, with the history, and also the fictional aspects. Just everything was so beautiful. I was like, I have to read the book. Another one that my boyfriend said is a very beautifully written, and actually his all-time favorite novel, so obviously it was a little bit more of a motivation to read it. I started it, again, really enjoyed it, and I got distracted. I think just because it's a long book, it's kind of easy to get distracted and pull yourself away from it. The other thing is that I was very specific of what translation I wanted to read, and I ended up having trouble finding one. There was only one production run of the translation that I chose, and unfortunately it's mass market, which I hate because it gets so scrunchy and my eyes get really tired from reading them. So it's definitely part of it. I'm considering buying a different translation and hoping that that might be easier, but I really liked that translation. So we'll see, but it's definitely a must-read for this year. And the last book on my list is this nice little surprise that I found recently called Ice by Anna Kavan. So I was just browsing a little bookstore and I saw this book and I went, Penguin's Classic, Ice, I've never heard of that before. And I read through it and it's this really awesome sounding dystopian where it's kind of like a Big Brother-esque kind of thing where there's a big government. Obviously it's usually a dystopian kind of thing, and some people go try to find this elusive frozen girl, and it's a post-nuclear apocalyptic kind of setting. And I just read the back and I was like, this is awesome. And I showed it to my friend and she read it and she was like, how have I never heard of this? And I was like, I know. So this book just sounds incredibly intriguing. I can't wait to read it, and it's less than 200 pages, so if it sounds at all interesting to you, what have you got to lose? It's a really short classic that is like 50 years old that somehow none of us have heard of. Alright guys, that concludes my first video from the Strikebackathon. I'm not going to be doing one every day, it's just kind of the prompts that inspire me or that I feel like I have something interesting to say, but I will be posting a lot more videos this month because of this, so I'm really excited to get more content out there, and I hope you guys are looking forward to seeing it. So I'll see you guys really soon.